Alrighty, now I'm in the right spot. All right, welcome to day 3, everyone. I know it's a little bit later than the other days. Hopefully you've had a chance to practice your day 3 exercise, and that's all related to pelvic floor. So definitely wanted to hop on here at the end of the day in case anyone has questions, because pelvic floor is where it starts to get a little bit tricky, right? So let's just start with a recap of yesterday, all right? Oh, yay, some of you are on. Good. Yesterday we talked about that diaphragmatic breathing, right? Where that breath is going down, it's filling your whole abdomen, it's softening the pelvic floor and all of those muscles. And the reason we go down is so that on our exhale we can come up. And the part of your core, I didn't forget about you, I thought it was going to be later. The part that comes up is what? Your pelvic floor. Pelvic floor is the bottom, right? Those are all those little muscles, which, quick anatomy lesson, they're kind of shaped like a diamond down there at the bottom. You've got some that make up like a front triangle and a back triangle if you were to draw like a line straight across. So some of the information in your email handouts is all in there. And again, if you're not getting the emails that you've been in this group before and you just didn't sign up for the challenge, let me know. We'll get you entered and get all those coming at you. From there. So pelvic floor, it works with your breath. These are the Kegel type exercises that you might have been familiar with. I was told to do Kegels, and while they're not necessarily bad, I'm just going to say they're a little bit incomplete because they can be much more powerful if they're paired with your breath. It's a much more functional thing. So for those of you with the cough test, if you felt pelvic floor pressing down, this one's all about you. And even a little bit of those with the belly button test, with the bottom finger drawing in. If you didn't feel the belly button, the one below the belly button drawing in, and if you have no idea what I'm talking about, you got to go back to day 1. Drawing in, then this one is for you too, because it's all pelvic floor. Pelvic floor works with your transverse abdominals. Those are coming tomorrow, okay? But as promised, I have my little balloon, okay? And this is not the stretchiest balloon. I've tried to get it. So if you wanted this balloon here, we're just going to pretend you have something called intra-abdominal pressure, okay? Everybody has it. Changes like crazy when you're pregnant and then postpartum. And what we want to do when we hear of diastasis or we hear of prolapse, those are not good things, right? It's all kind of a mismanagement of pressure inside our bodies. And so, and this is kind of related to a question that came up yesterday too about holding in our tummies. Is that bad? So this is kind of, but not exactly that. Jessica, if you pop on and see this is kind of related to that. So pelvic floor, you want it to lift with an exhale, because think about this. Think about the inhale comes from the top and it fills the bottom, okay? Your whole balloon, your whole abdomen is nice, soft, and relaxed. And then the exhale happens. If you just squeeze or if you push down from the top, say this is like your belly button or something, look at all this extra balloon that pops out down here by your pelvic floor. Again, so you can't really see it, I don't think. Okay, if you squeeze here, look, you get a lot of pressure at the top and you get a lot of pressure at the bottom. So pressure at the top can lead to a lot of diastasis. Pressure at the bottom leads to pelvic floor issues, as well as maybe some inactivation. So that's almost like if you're just holding in your core, this is kind of what you're doing. You're kind of locking off the pressure and keeping it down or keeping it up. So instead, what we want to do is we want to exhale and begin lifting our pelvic floor. I'm using my face. Can you lift your pelvic floor and then finish the exhale? So the lift comes first. You want to lift the pelvic floor, and then we're going to get into that, but it's close and then move. So that's the fun little balloon. Just think of it as the pressure. Exhale, lift. So does anybody, okay, let's see what we're saying. I definitely breathe backward. That's so common. Like I was breathing backward too. I want to breathe up and then push, exhale down. Nope, we don't want to do that. So just keep practicing it. If you find oh my gosh, I'm doing this all wrong, don't freak out. Chances are it's something that just tripped off one day and you just kept going with it. Our body likes to take the path of least resistance. I should say that too. Pressure follows the path of least resistance. That's kind of a lot of the parts that go into a diastasis, is that there's that soft connective tissue in the front, for those of you who have had it. And so when there's too much pressure, the path of least resistance once you're pregnant now becomes the front because of that softened linea alba. And so if you're having, for me, I had a lot of leaking. So the path of least resistance for me, my core stayed pretty well intact, but I held it into a lot of it went down the way I held it. So what else we got? Anyone else? Questions? Okay. So for those of you who are struggling with the cough and you're struggling with the push down, before, what can help, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, because I feel like pelvic floor really could be like a 6-week course in and of itself. And I feel like I've only scratched the surface on it too. So this is very even small. But the pelvic floor is what you want to get activating before. It's really an anticipatory muscle. That means it turns on first, and it's connected to the muscle we're going to talk about tomorrow, your transverse abdominals. So when you're going around just your day-to-day, outside of this challenge, when you're not just focused on the daily challenge activities, I want you to think about that, especially if you're going to cough or sneeze, like lift the pelvic floor. And you're like, what does that mean? Do a quick little, almost like a little mini exhale, like, or a tss. A lot of times that kind of breath is called like a tss breath, where your tongue is on the roof of your mouth. You're like tss. You could do it slow and gentle. Sometimes that connects really deeply with people. But for me, a short and faster tss, I don't know. I just feel it way down in my pelvic floor right away. Like, oh, it's almost like a little flicker. And that's a good start when you get the flicker. And then you can learn like, oh, these are the same type of muscles that you're using to stop the flow of urine. And you want them to be relaxed. And there was a part in the resource for today that says you can have tight pelvic floor. And a lot of times if we're having incontinence or leaking, we think, oh, my pelvic floor is weak, it's not strong. It's almost more of just like a dysfunction, because most of us actually have a strong enough pelvic floor. Sure, it got stretched out as heck while we were pregnant. It doesn't matter which kind of delivery you had. But what happens is it more just needs to relearn how to engage properly. And we can hold a lot of stress and tension, like emotional stress and tension in our pelvic floor. So I know I'm not meaning to just share about me, but maybe someone can relate. If you have a lot of like tailbone issues where it's like, oh, my tailbone just always feels like it's sticking out. Like when I'm in boat pose in yoga, it's like, oh my gosh, that is related to a tight back half of the pelvic floor. So you can have differences in the front and the back. I don't want that to confuse you, but just open up a conversation if you're like, oh, well, what if, get to know your body. And it's really kind of fun and exciting when you start to learn that, oh, I can control this. I can manipulate this. So if you get nothing out of today, know that the pelvic floor does what? It lifts with the exhale. And that's the key part to going into tomorrow, which is the corset. So that's really going to be about the function in the core and changing your posture and building that strength, because it's that deep, it's one of the biggest, deepest muscles in your core. So really important. If you're having trouble with pelvic floor, you're like, I don't even know if I'm feeling it or I'm not feeling it or I am feeling it, but I'm still leaking, definitely reach out. There's some more tricks I have up my sleeve as far as that goes. Definitely had to use a lot on myself, and they've also helped others. So I think that's going to be it for today. So tomorrow, like I said, we're going to cover the transverse abdominals. That will probably be another afternoon video. I'm going to double check my schedule, but I think I have it down for around 2:00 again. So again, if you have questions on this, if you think of anything before then, let me know. But I do want to see, how did your pelvic floor practice go? Were you able to do the exercise, half of it, part of it? What was easy? What was hard? What do you still need to work on? Or what did I leave out? I guess for those of you at the cough test, or the belly button test, did that kind of help a little bit? Do you think if you could, can you lift it first? Can you consciously lift it and then cough? Try the assessment again. Try to think, okay, I'm going to lift and then cough, and see if that helps. So those are all really important things to help manage the pressure so that the right muscles are doing the job. That's kind of where this is all going. So thank you guys for being here. Again, we'll see you tomorrow.